Welcome back to this week's episode of Real Reactions. As always, I'm your host, Isabella, and today we'll be discussing Pixar's groundbreaking new film, Soul, directed by Pete Docter, starring Jamie Foxx as Joe Gardner and Tina Fey as 22. Soul centers around Joe, a New York jazz pianist who lands the gig of a lifetime. However, a bad fall leads him to be stuck in this strange land in between Earth and the afterlife. Along the way, he helps someone find their passion and discovers what it means to have a soul. Let's dive right in and hear our panel's thoughts on the new film Soul.
What the? What is this place?
What's your name, honey?
I'm Joe. I teach middle school band. Got it, go for it! Today started out as the best day of my life.
Back here tonight, first show's at 7.
Yes! Woohoo! You know what that's gonna say? Joe Gardner. I did it, I got the gig.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. Let's talk about Soul. So the film features the first Black-led character of Pixar. What did you guys think about the film and how it measured up in terms of representation?
I think one criticism that I saw on Twitter was that it was Tina Fey voicing his character for most of the movie, and I heard that a lot of people thought that was problematic, that like she was kind of his voice for a while, and that's just something I observed that people thought. So I thought that was definitely an interesting criticism. And then also kind of the fact that like there's a trend of like Black people in animated movies getting turned into like anthropomorphic animals or like just creatures, like how he's kind of the little soul guy. Like for most of this, or like Princess and the Frog, she's a frog for most of the movie. So I've definitely like seen that criticism also surrounding Soul a little bit. But I thought it was cool that they, chose to make him the lead. I definitely think that was an important step and one that hopefully they'll be continuing with.
I think it's a great thing. And also I think specifically the fact that they had some Black talent behind the scenes. One of the co-writer, I believe, I know one of the writers, I'm not sure how many there are, is Black, and that's very important because someone who has experience, who knows, to have them write it is a great step on Pixar's part. But I've seen a bunch of criticisms on Twitter as well, and I don't feel like I can comment on them because I am white, yes, so I can't like say, oh, this is offensive. But I'm really happy to see that Pixar is not just having white like male protagonist after white male protagonist. It's really it's a good move on their part.
The movie definitely was very diverse, and I like how the animation style kind of expresses that, and the movie is a beautiful looking movie, and I think really overall the diverseness of, that's a word, right? The diverseness of the movie really kind of carries over to how much I kind of like.
Do you mean diversity?
There you go. the diversity of the movie leads it. I'm a movie reviewer, by the way. I'm a professional movie reviewer. I have a plaque on the wall. I'm professional. The diversity of the movie really carries over to how good the movie is. There is a part of the movie I don't really like too much, but overall, I think the movie is really outstanding.
So in the movie, they talk about the zone, which is this area where people enter when their passions put them in this euphoric trance. What are all of your guys' zones? Going on
Real Reactions. I'm kidding. But it is a pretty awesome thing. I'd say it's cliche, but I'd say when I'm making films.
I would definitely say mine would be when I'm writing, whether it's like literally anything.
Yeah, I would say doing comedy or writing or eating pizza, but I think they said it was only creative stuff. So
for me, it's like helping other people and making others feel happy. So that's why I went into journalism, because I want to help create change. And I love talking to people, so I love listening to their stories and making them feel understood and that they're being listened to.
For me, it's performing in front of a live audience, whether that's acting or playing music.
Mine's, oh goodness gracious. I guess it'd be like connecting people and like, I don't know really how to describe it quite over this, but I will leave it at connecting people. So to help them.
Oh, I liked all those answers. I love hearing about other people's passions. Anyways, so what did you guys think about the dynamic between Joe and 22? How did they help one another?
I really like the fact that 22 was able to sort of show Joe the beauty in life, sort of, because Joe is kind of like stuck on this endless hamster wheel versus 22, who didn't even want to do life because she thought, you know, like Joe, she saw like what Joe's like. She's like, oh, what's the purpose of doing this? And then being in the real world, she's like, whoa, there's so much going on and I love this stuff, you know?
Yeah, I learned a lot in this movie. And I was reminded, you know, through 22 and through their relationship that we can't be so self-centered, you know, like how she was talking to the barber and he was saying, well, you never asked me about my life before. That's why I never told you.
It is nice to finally talk to you about something other than jazz, Joe.
Huh. How come we never talked about your life before?
You never asked.
So that to me was like, well, we need to stop sometimes and enjoy the little things, enjoy the little conversations, enjoy the bite of pizza, you know, and not be so centered on that one goal.
So let's specifically talk about 22. How did you guys react when 22 became a lost soul?
Yeah, I think they pulled off a really like abstract concept there pretty well. Like the scene where she like swallows him up and then it's like a whirlpool tornado thing. Like that's so cool. I love that scene. And yeah, just the way they set it up, like how they had her repeating all the things, like the negative things people have said to her. It was interesting that Joe was the breaking point for her because she had like Mother Teresa and Abraham Lincoln, like the greatest minds of all time, telling her like, you're nothing. But then it was like this jazz teacher is the reason she's like, nah, I'm done.
Yeah, I feel like Pixar is always just really, really great at like making these abstract concepts into beautiful animation. And I don't know if I would even call Pixar. Yes, they're children's movies, but I've always made the point when someone's brought that up that traditionally, if it was in theaters, 50% of the audience are going to be adults. So, and Pixar doesn't lose sight of this because there are some jokes in this movie that a 10-year-old will not understand.
Yeah, they really balance the tones, like pretty amazing. Like the fact they can go from like these Freaky Friday like cat scene to like talking about like the great beyond, and it doesn't seem like too clashing is pretty amazing.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Even though I'm not a big fan of the Freaky Friday cat thing, that's probably the one thing I didn't like about the movie too much, but it didn't feel like I was watching a different movie. Like it all still felt connected, and thematically at the end, I still think the second act, which I didn't like that much, paid off in the end, and it really carried emotionally. Going back to when 22 became a lost soul, I was like, oh damn, like that hurt. Like I was like, and I do also appreciate what Jacob said was when Joe goes and gets sucked up by the lost soul, and you get to see everything that's being said to 22. It really emotionally carried through, and is something I appreciate, and I'm glad that I'm not trying to find a way to word this, why the second act was kind of slower than the other acts, because it really paid off in the end.
So what do you think about the barbershop scene and how Joe didn't know anything about the barber?
I think it was really good because like it challenges you to think about yourself, which I think, you know, is the trait of a really good movie, if it makes you kind of reflect inward. And I definitely think that's something that scene does, is because you kind of see yourself in Joe a little bit. You know, you look and you kind of think, have I done that? And I think that's kind of great that it makes you do that, because hopefully people watching just become more aware of each other, and just kind of like you become more aware with how you treat other people and how you interact with other people, and like work on the relationships that you do have. And so I think that was a really neat way to kind of go about that scene.
I think I really liked it because it's one of those movies that leave you with something in the end. like you're done watching it and you're still thinking about it and analyzing it and thinking like, what does this mean? How can I apply this to my life? What am I doing wrong? How should I change? And I feel like that's the reason why I personally watch movies, because I want something out of it. I don't just want to waste 2 hours of my life. I want to learn, I want to think, and I think this movie does that.
Final question. Do you all feel that we're destined for something?
I do. I think, and people don't have to agree with me. I think when you come here that there's not one exact thing you're meant to do. I think it's a journey, that there's multiple people you're meant to meet in your life for one reason or another. And there's different goals that you're going to complete, so you can have like a book of all those things. Like at the end, you can have a scrapbook of your life saying all the things that you've accomplished, and most importantly, the things that you learned. I don't think it's about the things that you've accomplished. I think it's more about the life lessons that you learned while you're here, more than anything else.
I definitely do think that people do have purposes. I don't think it's something that you're born with necessarily, but I think it's something that you eventually learn over life. And personally, like, I gained my my meaning in life by kind of going through the worst time of my life, and really films helped me get through that. And I'm gonna get really deep here, but my main goal in life is to make art forms that make people think about different things and give people a different perspective, or even just maybe bring happiness into someone's life when time where somebody might need it. And so, yeah, I do think we all have our purposes. Maybe not right in the beginning, not like it's something you're born with immediately, but I think it's something that as you do grow older, maybe you like won't get it till like you're 30, but I think everyone will eventually have their own meaning in life.
I'm not sure if I believe in like destiny per se, because I feel like that word's been used just to excuse people of doing terrible things in the past. Be like, nah, this is our land, it's destiny, and people are like, I don't know about that. But I definitely think people are predisposed to being better at certain things. Like, people are definitely talented at, some people have to work harder at one thing, or I think it's really the whole thing about passion and the spark was handled very interesting, because like the way they set it up in the beginning, like with all the character traits of like all the different personality, like archetypes, it makes you think like, oh, there's only like maybe like 30 different types of people if there's this many combinations of like curiosity or self-absorption or whatever. Then at the end, it really puts everything into perspective, because this is super sappy, but you got to be there for people, man. You got to be a good person.
Great answers. We were all destined to be on Real Reactions. That's one thing we all know. All right, well, thank you all so much for joining me today talking about Soul. See you next week.
You're still alive?
Can you help me get back?
No way!
There I am. What are we waiting for?
Wait, not me!
That's weird.
What is it?
151,000 souls going to the great beyond every day, and I count every single one of them. The count's off.
Huh.
Soul certainly makes you dig deep and think about the important questions of life. I think we should all plan to follow Joe's model and live every minute of life to the fullest. All right, well, as always, thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of Real Reactions. Although our reactions may be a little ridiculous and a little bit racy, they're always real.